Hey guys, uh, this is Naughty Dave, and this is the Cummins 12 valve throttle brackets. So I make them in mild steel or in stainless. This is a stainless bracket. It's all 304. I TIG weld them, TIG weld the shaft on the back, TIG weld the little bungs on it, gives it the right spacing on the P pump. The shafts are all stainless. And then it's a different design. It's the same dimensions. Everything is exactly the same as a stock one. The difference is how their bushing is. I use a lot bigger bushing, and then that's what it looks like. It's an 1 1/8 inch long and little over 3/4 inch diameter, and then a 1/2 inch hole in the middle. So it lasts a lot longer than the really thin stock ones. I don't know if you ever took one of those brackets apart, but they're very thin plastic, which wears out, and then you got to take the whole bracket off, and on the back side it's got this real weird clip on it, and pain in the ass. So I made this version. If some odd reason you need to maintenance it, it's got a lock nut on the front side of it. Put a washer on it, and then when you snug it up, I replace the lock nut every time, just because you deform the nylon lock of it, and then it doesn't hold like it should. And then I also use blue Loctite on it. But when I tighten it up, I snug it up so it don't move, and then I just back it up until it turns nice and smooth. And then that's the adjustment. The rod, you want to put the spacer on the bottom, and then put the rod between the two washers. The stock rods come with the weird joint. It's kind of like comes with this weird rod, and then it has kind of like weird joints like this that clip on, and these clips fall off. You're not going to fall off on a Heim joint. You can get these Heim joints at your local Ace Hardware, any place like that. So if you need it, you don't have to special order it. They're not $60. You can go anywhere to get them. The springs I get at Ace Hardware. They're $3 for a spring. So some odd reason it breaks or anything, you can go right there and get it. In their selection, it was number 191 spring. These are mild steel brackets. I painted black. I got aluminum spacers, nylon lock nuts on all the hardware. I don't give you the mountain hardware. Some of those are different, so I don't supply that. I don't supply the ones here, and then I don't supply the bolt you have to drill out and replace it. Also on this, when I do the mild steel ones, the shaft on them, I still use a stainless shaft. On this piece of them, the part right here, I still use that as stainless too, just so any part that comes in contact with that bushing, so it don't have any type of rust on it. And then also on the mild steel, instead of a stainless shaft or anything, I use aluminum shafts. So Just give you an idea what that is. And on the stainless version, the hardware is not stainless and the heim joints aren't stainless. They're just normal, I think, mild steel. Just the brackets, all the brackets I make are stainless. Maybe down the road, if I can find a deal on hardware and stuff to switch to stainless, I'd probably do it on all of it if I can find some heim joints that are stainless. But for now, these are just, you know, what you get at Ace Hardware. The shafts are stainless on the stainless ones, and then aluminum on the mild steel. So I also can, if you have a custom cable you want to put on, I make these exactly how the factory comes, the stock ones. So it's direct replacement for that. If you want something else, I can put a smaller hole, I can put no holes, and then they can be drilled out later. If you want to do that, you gotta let me know ahead of time. And then just to let you know, stainless drills really hard. Mild steel drills really easy. So if you know the exact size hole, and I can put it in, and then you don't have to drill it. You might have to clearance these a little bit. I'm sure from cable to cable they're a little different. So you might have to take a little Dremel sander and Dremel it, or a little file. But I check them on mine, and I have a factory Dodge cable on my 2003 Chevy K3500. So, well, that's my bracket. So one of the mods is the top bolt for where your timing pin is on your P-pump. You have to, it's kind of like a rivet somewhat. It's like a tamper-proof bolt. So you gotta either cut a slot into it, and then take like an impact driver or a big screwdriver and twist it out, or drill the whole top off, remove the bottom bolt, and then you should have a big stud sticking up you can take a vice grip to. But once you remove it, it's going to leak a lot of oil once that cap is, the whole mechanism is removed. And then you got to replace the bolt with that, you know, a bolt with a head. So that's one of your mods you have to do. And then the other one is where the back arm is mounted. Let's see if I can get it. Right there. That one. There's like a long shaft. You got the two bolts and then the stud sticking out. That's normally a long shaft. You don't have to cut it, but you can, which makes it easier, I guess, to get it, to move it around and stuff. You know, it's less shit in your way. You don't have to, but you're not going to use it, so it's up to you, I guess, if you want to cut that one. And then it mounts into here. This is like the stock bracket that I mocked everything off of. And you know, you got clearance on everything. You don't need the curved stock shaft. It can be straight. I just have it on the outside of everything instead of you know, where it's flush against it. And then I use heim joints instead of the weird joints that they have. So, and then on the stock throttle brackets, normally you can mount the TPS sensor. On mine, you can't mount it in the stock location, which would be right on the end of the shaft. They actually make an aftermarket setup where it goes into the square hole on the bracket and it hooks onto the bottom side by the lower rod, and it comes on its own cable, and then it comes up to another little mechanism that's the TPS sensor. So you can get that set up, or I'm sure they make some universal styles if you need to. I have the Allison transmission, so I need a TPS sensor to let it know the position for shifting and whatnot. So just so you kind of guys can see, I have a Langmuir plasma table. It's cuts 3 feet by 4 feet. I have a Hypotherm 85. It cuts up to a 1-inch thick metal. When I bend stuff, I went to school for machinist, and during my classes, some of my projects, I made all my dies, and I made my own press. I got a 20-ton air jack on there. Bends the stuff really nice. And then I have a manual lathe. That's what I turn everything on. Works out pretty good. Some odd reason I would need to machine anything, I got a manual mill. And then I press everything together with an arbor press. So that's the small shop tour, machinist shop. And then I weld everything together with the Miller 180 diversion. Use stainless filler. For the mild steel stuff, I just weld together with MIG welder, so nothing special. That's why it's a little more for stainless, and then the cost of material for stainless is quite a bit more. So, all right, there you go. Thank you guys.